Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will be back in the House of Commons when Parliament resumes, thanks to his by-election win in Alberta last month. And today, he offered a preview of how his party plans to go after the Liberal government this fall. Poilievre blasted the Liberals over Canada's immigration system, and he called on them to scrap the temporary foreign workers program. The CBC's Marina von Stackelberg joins us now from Ottawa. So, Marina, why does Pierre Poilievre want to get rid of that program?
Well, Poilievre says that the temporary foreign worker program has essentially flooded the Canadian market with what he says is cheap labor, that companies are hiring temporary foreign workers instead of hiring Canadians, and that it's made it harder for young Canadians especially to find work, especially people who are looking for those low-paying jobs. And we do know that the unemployment rate for young people is quite high compared to the rest of the population. And so he says that at the expense of these Canadians getting jobs, companies are taking advantage of this program and hiring essentially cheap labor from other countries. Have a listen to what he had to say.
Nearly 75% of temporary foreign workers that come into the country are for low-wage positions, which means they compete with working class and young people that ultimately drive down wages and drive away jobs. Tim Hortons has hired an unimaginable 1,131% more temporary foreign workers in the last 4 years. In the first half of this year alone, the TFW program has imported 74% more low-skilled labor than in all of 2015.
I did reach out to Tim Hortons corporate to get a response to those comments that Poilievre was making there about their hiring practices. Poilievre saying today he would like to, like I said, completely scrap the temporary foreign worker program as it exists in Canada right now, and instead bring in one that was specifically for agricultural labor. So this is seasonal labor. It's often difficult to fill those jobs, to work on farms and this sort of thing. It's important to note that Canada does have a program for this specifically that allows citizens of Mexico and other Caribbean countries to come and work in Canada on farms. Now, Poilievre was also very clear that he said he didn't want to blame those temporary foreign workers, that he feels they are being exploited, but by who he calls are the Liberal corporate elites, really knocking the Liberal government today for, he says, allowing this to get beyond sort of the issues of labor shortages we had post-pandemic and letting, in his eyes, let the situation really get out of control.
How is the Liberal government responding to Poilievre's idea of scrapping the temporary foreign workers program?
Yeah, well, you heard Poilievre there mention some numbers in terms of the numbers we're seeing of temporary foreign workers coming into the country. And the Immigration Minister's office released some numbers to us at CBC here saying that there is some inaccurate information in their eyes. They said that it has actually decreased overall numbers of new temporary foreign workers and students, saying overall 903 fewer new temporary workers arrived between January and June 2025 compared to January to June 2024. So those permits that Poilievre is talking about there, the Immigration Minister's office says those are permits issued that included extensions for people who were already here working, so extending those temporary foreign worker permits. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister, at his cabinet retreat, you saw Ashley there, he was asked about this, Poilievre's plan. He says that the government policy will continue to see immigration numbers decline here in Canada, but he says that businesses and the business community have really said that they need the temporary foreign worker program. Have a listen to what his response was.
That program has a role. It has to be focused in terms of its role. And it's part of what we're reviewing. It's part of what we will be discussing, how well the temporary foreign worker program is working. When I talk to businesses around the country, particularly in Quebec, but elsewhere across the country, their number one issue is tariffs, and their number two issue is access to temporary foreign workers.
So we also reached out to the business community to see what they think of this idea of eliminating the temporary foreign worker program altogether. We did speak with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. This group represents small and medium-sized businesses here in Canada, so not Tim Hortons, but other sort of small and medium-sized businesses. And they are very opposed to this. They say that this will hurt businesses and actually cost jobs. Have a listen.
To suggest that the program itself be permanently scrapped is just ridiculous. The Conservatives know better. Look, there are thousands and thousands of communities where there just are no entry-level people available to work. If you're trying to hire in rural Saskatchewan to come to work in your quick service restaurant, it's unlikely that the unemployed kid from Toronto is going to move cross country to take the job washing dishes at the pizza shop in Estevan.
It's interesting here because the Conservatives often align with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business in terms of policy and perspectives on things. So the fact that they are so opposed to this policy by the Conservatives is very notable. It could be a sign that we're seeing a shift in some ways from the Conservatives moving away from small business towards more of a labor working class sort of perspective. And we did see hints of that during the election as well, as Pierre Poilievre really tried to speak to working class people. And today is really trying to speak to young Canadians, working class Canadians that are having trouble getting jobs here in Canada.
Marina, thank you. The CBC's Marina von Stackelberg live in Ottawa.